FCT-IRS, that is Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service. A lot of people, a lot of questions have been asked around taxation in the FCT. To clear the air, to provide further information, we have taken the pen to invite quite a number of them, but we are starting with one person who is very, very key. She operates within the very, very key department of the service, because what is an office without proper information unit? And therefore this morning, first guest on the program, we are being joined by Mrs. Igondu Ihedioha. She is the Deputy Manager, Corporate Communications, FCT-IRS. Good morning, and it's good to have you join us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
All right, FCT-IRS, of course, you guys are responsible for everything taxation and tax management as far as the FCT, Federal Capital Territory, is concerned. And a lot of people, businesses particularly, will always say, I don't know where to go with regards to, sorting my tax issues out. So let's start from that very basis. Are you people available, reachable, and accessible everywhere within the FCT?
Definitely, FCT-IRS, FCT Internal Revenue Service, is actually everywhere in our FCT. We have 16 tax offices around FCT. We have in Gwagwalada, we have in Kuje, we have in Karu, we have in Gwarimpa, Wuse, Otako, Gariki, all around FCT. We have tax offices to be able to solve taxpayers' issues. You can also reach us on our hotline. Yeah, 0700 002 0002.
We will come to those numbers. We will come to those numbers because first we're talking about how reachable you are, first of all, physically. You say you have how many offices?
We have 16 tax offices.
16?
Around FCT. Wow. There is no area of FCT that you will go to, you will not find a tax office. So it's very, very accessible. So because every taxpayer has the jurisdiction. If you live around maybe Utako, you can't go to the Wuse tax office. You must go toward the Utako tax office. If you live around Gwarimpa, you own your small business around Gwarimpa, you go to the Gwarimpa tax office. Same thing applies to all areas, all locations in FCT. Oh, great.
I was going to ask that, that if I stay, for example, in Wuse, and maybe my house is in Gwagwalada, and I want to pay tax, which of the offices should I use?
Yeah, definitely. That's where you reside, in Gwagwalada. So you visit the Gwagwalada tax office.
Tax office.
Yes.
What if it's for my business that is located in Wuse?
What? Where you reside. Because where you reside, you pay.
Yes. You pay where you reside.
Yes, where you reside. Or if your business is in Wuse and you live in Gwagwalada, maybe definitely you pay in where your business resides.
So these 16 tax offices cover all the 6 area councils of the FCT?
Yes.
So there is no area council in FCT that does not have an FCT-IRS tax office?
Actually, Kwali. We don't have any yet Kwali. But the one closest is Gwagwalada.
So people in Kwali can go to
Gwagwalada or Kuje. It's closer.
Are there plans to expand to Kwali?
Definitely. We have more plans to expand more tax offices in this year, 2024. So we look forward to doing that.
Now, we are in an era where people just want to do things on their phones easily. People want to reduce that stress of having to move from one place to another for the sake of tax. Because if there is anything, tax money is very small. So it's sometimes, quote unquote, negligible. But the stress of having to leave your house to go and queue somewhere or go to a particular location to queue, as the case mostly is, always prevent people from, exercising this constitutional responsibility. Do you have digital platforms where people can reach you?
Definitely we have.
Let's start with the phone numbers now.
Well, actually, let's start first with our website.
Then.
Because in the comfort of their home, in their office, they can simply log into www.fctirs.gov.ng. Yes, all the forms you need for whether filing returns, whether TCC, tax clearance certificate, whatever you want to do, whether you want to pay, make payments, just log into our website, www.fctirs.gov.ng, and you'll be able to carry out all the functions you need. Yes.
That's for the website.
Yes, self-service portal.
Okay.
When you go to our website, you'll be able to do that. Also, for people that have queries, they could reach us via our hotline, 0700 0000 220-0002. So can I take the number again?
Yes,
0700
0700.
Yes.
I'm sure our technical people will put that on the screen.
220
okay.
0002.
Okay.
They can also reach us via our email at info@fctirs.gov.ng.
Okay.
You can send us and we will respond immediately.
Okay.
Also, we have our social media handles on Facebook. Because any taxpayer can reach us via Facebook via FCT-IRS. Also, we can be reached via Instagram at FCT-IRS official. Also on YouTube and Twitter, now X. Okay. Reach us as FCT-IRS. And we will respond accordingly. Yes, we're everywhere to make life easier for taxpayers. Yes.
Oh, because that's my next line of question. That how easy how much has this contributed to, of course, increasing what the activities that you do? Because the more people, the easier people get to access you, the more willing they are willing to, of course, cooperate and do what you are asking them to do. Yes. How much has this helped in?
It has really helped greatly, because even through our social media platforms, like daily, even this morning, my staff, even myself, I received messages on our Facebook page. He said, I want a tax clearance certificate. Please, how do I go about it? Okay. Can I do it online, or should I visit your tax office? Okay. Some have sent, how do I need a team. I want to start paying my tax. Okay. How am I able to register for a team? We send them directions and guide on how to use the website, self-service portal to generate team or file their returns using the Form H1 and Form G for employers of labor. And so generally with respect to our accessibility, yes, we are on top of your game. We are on top of our game.
Any other thing that FCT residents, taxpayers should know from the Corporate Communications Office?
Yeah, they should know that this time is time for filing returns. Okay. So everyone should put hands on deck and go and file their annual returns to avoid penalties. Because definitely there will be penalties as a lapse. So go out there, file your returns, go to our websites, visit any tax offices, and be able to file your company annual tax returns.
We have to say sincere thank you to you for this very vital information this morning. And on this note, we have to excuse you, because we have others who will come to talk to us about quite a number of other things, because today is for FCT-IRS. We've been hunting these people to get them to come talk to us. Thankfully, we have them today, so that's why we want to take them batch by batch. Thank you very much, Mrs. Igundu.
And thank you so much for having me today.
She is the Deputy Manager, Corporate Communications, Federal Capital Territory Internal Revenue Service. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
We'll go on a short break. By the time we return, we will be having two gentlemen still from the FCT-IRS joining us for more conversation on taxation in the FCT. Stay with us.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
Of course, there you've just listened to the voice of the golden voice of Africa, Alhaji Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa himself. And of course, he ushered us into the second part of our discussion and conversations with the FCT-IRS. As promised, we have two gentlemen with us in the studio. First, let me introduce Mr. James Olukotun. He is the head ICT FCT-IRS. Thank you and good morning for joining us.
Thank you, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Of course, sitting very close to him is Mr. Salisu Abubakar. He is the head tax operations. People should be afraid of you. The head of tax operations, FCT-IRS.
Thank you for having us.
Good morning. It's good to have you join us this morning. Of course, we've heard from the head of, the person from the corporate communications about how widely spread the FCT-IRS is and how easily accessible the service is. But one thing that has been bugging taxpayers in the FCT, especially those who are yet to comply, is the issue of filing, the issue of filing tax, which of course there was a deadline that was given, and now it has been, we hear, we'll confirm that whether it is true or not, that it has been extended by 1 month. Is this true?
Yes, good morning once again. The filing of annual return for FCT-IRS has been extended for 1 month.
Okay, and when is this 1 month elapsing?
29th of February.
29th of next month.
Yeah, next month. And the reason for it is we'll be receiving a lot of requests from taxpayers, from agents, in terms of issues of how can you give us additional time for us to be able to put issues together, especially December salaries that are delayed and so on. So we as FCT-IRS look at taxpayers as customers, and we treat them with respect. So we decided to agree on their requests and extend it. And secondly, to also provide the opportunity for those that are still outstanding to be able to file their returns.
But let me just quickly ask you that.
Yes.
What happens if by 29th of February I fail to file my tax?
Yes, according to the law, tax authority can make a decision to assist taxpayers, which we have done. So after this extension, the law will take its stand, because there is a penalty for refusal, or I can call it refusal, because that is evasion. That is evasion for refusal to file return. Because filing of return is the first thing any taxpayer should do as part of fulfillment of their obligations to the law. that set up the issues of taxation.
Okay, Mr. James, someone watching and is eligible to paying tax and wondering, how do I even go about this? You are the person from ICT. Take us through the processes of filing tax with FCT-IRS.
All right, filing of annual returns, as we call it, is in two ways.
Okay.
You can choose to follow what we call the manual way, or you can choose to do it by yourself on our self-service portal. So I'm going to just explain the two of them briefly.
Okay.
So should you choose to do the manual method, the first thing is for you to get the template. There's a template which you would fill up.
Okay.
Your staff details, your employee details, the amount. The details are done. It's quite simple and straightforward. So once this is done, you feel it's an Excel template. Once that is done, you can send it to any of our tax offices. You can take it in person. And then when you get to our offices, the offices know what to do. They will still use another system to process it.
Okay.
But if you are a tech understanding person, meaning that you actually want to do this at the comfort of your office or your home, you can go to our self-service portal and then do this filing. Pretty straightforward. That same Excel template that you are sending to our office, you don't have to send it to the office. You upload it on our self-service portal, and then the system will process it, and then you will receive an email to tell you whether it has been approved or whether it has been rejected.
Oh, that's great. So but before I leave you, how much, because we are in an era now where everybody has, most people have Android phones, which is internet, which largely are internet enabled. So how much are you leveraging on these technologies to make, payment of tax easier for taxpayers?
Okay, so that's a very interesting question to ask, because I must say that FCT-IRS has invested so much in technology. Almost all our services are automated. And so we have two ways. We have what we call the internal system, which is internal facing. And then we have the public facing system, which we call the self-service. So I'll start from the self-service. Now, what the self-service allows you to do is that you can, ranging from registration, payment, and filing of all returns, you can do it by yourself at the comfort of your home or your office. And to be able to do this, you go to our website, and then on our website you will see a menu called e-services. On the e-services, if you click on the e-services, you will see login, and then you click on the login, then it will allow you to log in. That is if you already have an account on our self-service portal. Now, but if you don't already have an account on our self-service portal, you can quickly, it takes less than 1 minute to do that. So all you have to do is to create an account quickly. All you need is your TIN number and then one more details. Then once that is supplied, the system will automatically generate an account for you. Then you can log in. When you log in, you can make your payments. You don't have to go to any tax office. You can file your returns. You don't have to go to any tax office. And you can even request for your TCC without having to go to any tax office. And then the other method is to say, look, I don't understand how this works. So you can leverage, we have another technology which is internal facing. So you can walk into any of our tax offices, and then our tax officers will help you to use the internal system to do your processing, do your payment, do your filing, and then do your TCC request.
You make this thing sound very easy.
It is that easy.
Oh, really? All right. Okay, Mr. Salisu, why is it important to file tax? And of what, does this have any impact on the figures that you end up giving us every year? I hear that as 2023, FCT-IRS generated something around 200 billion. And you are so ambitious now that in 2024 you are aiming 250 billion. So why is it important? If I fail to pay, does this go to affect the figures that you generate?
So first of all, you look at the issue of integrity and patriotism. Taxpayers, that is the citizens of the residents of FCT, are the taxpayers to FCT-IRS. And the more they file this return, as they come in to file return, it gives the FCT-IRS the leverage to collect more taxes. Because if you file and you report the activities you have last year, which is the reason for filing of return, it gives the FCT-IRS the opportunity to say yes, they have the record of taxpayers, and the more filings are done, it means the more taxes that we are going to be collecting. Then second thing is, you are now looking at fulfilling your responsibility as a citizen. So, and you are contributing. We usually have some taxpayers that contribute to pay their taxes, and we write them letters of recommendation because they are voluntarily contributing instead of waiting for compulsion. Because this year we are going to get into compulsion and try to get people to pay. If you don't file, they will make you to file, and by then we are not going to get into issues of making you by force, forcing you to do it. So if you do it voluntarily, you're contributing to the system from your end, and FCT-IRS is going to be increasing in collection to meet up their target, and then the FCTA, which is now developing the city, will use these resources. And you can see the projects going on. These monies are being used to develop social, economic, educational services and roads and so on.
I was actually going to ask that specifically. Like, okay, all these tax that you ask us to pay. What do you use these monies for?
Yeah, that is the area I want to now let you. When you look at citizens' responsibility, there is something attached to it. Somebody should be accountable. And as soon as citizens understand that they are responsible and they have paid their tax, they ask for accountability. If you don't respond, if you are not responsible, how can you be accountable? Or how can you ask for accountability? So if they pay their tax, government is accountable, and they use the resources to develop, as we are seeing, roads, resurface even roads, build schools, renovate schools, pay people that are working, pay their salary, and ensure that things go well. The government is accountable. The next thing that will happen is trust. So the citizens will continue to trust the government. And you can see it happening, because from end of last year we saw the trust coming from the citizens, so the residents, in terms of payment of tax, and it's increased our collection from 130 almost 150 billion to over 200 billion, and we are now seeing the trusts going, increasing. By now, that is why we are now seeing that we can even generate over 250 billion.
And did this become more important now that the FCT administration has been pulled out of the Treasury single account?
Yes.
And it's now supposed to use its internally generated revenue for some of these projects that you have mentioned. Does it make it now more important for FCT residents to also, up their game in payment of tax?
Yes. It's very important for them to look at it clearly, that tax or activities of financial should not be made so rigid, should be flexible. So people should be able to, go to pay their taxes anywhere they want, not only in CBN. And government should also be able to utilize these resources, not with hindrances. So for now, we're already seeing that citizens, residents of FCT are getting more aware. They are more, with the help of
the
media, more aware, and they are now coming up voluntarily to
pay their tax.
So we saw some that are trying to see how maybe they can hide, but I can tell you, the technology, as Mr. James has mentioned, there are a lot of openings that we can be able to see what is happening in the city, and we don't want to get into those levels. That level.
Okay, finally for Mr. James, of course, the issue of TCC has become a very important issue for many Nigerians, particularly those residing in the FCT. We know that the FCT administration is making efforts to ensure that TCC becomes a prerequisite for a lot of activities, even for banks, for companies. Before you are awarded a contract in the FCT, you must present a TCC and all of that. So from your technical point of view, how easier it is now for residents to have access to their TCCs?
So it's a two-way thing. It's easy for you to even request for TCC. Now, when that is done, we will have to do a little bit of check. Check your financial details and all your filings. Have you filed appropriately? Before TCC is issued to you, you must have filed for 3 years. So the system will check, and then on the internal system, there's going to be a form of approval, and then once that is done, your TCC comes back to you, and then you can print it by yourself on the self-service.
Oh, so it's so easy now that in the comfort of my room,
in the comfort of your home, you can make requests for TCC. Once all your documents are correct, you will receive an email telling you it has been approved or it has been rejected, and then the reason upon which it is rejected will also be sent to you, which you can then go ahead and correct, and then you get your TCC.
That's superb, really. Yeah. Really. So finally, for you, Mr. Salisu, for those who, you've mentioned it in passing earlier, but I want you to reiterate the consequence of not paying or not filing your tax.
For now, I have to go to law, because Section 81 of Personal Income Tax, which was amended, is 2011, which has been amended, has made it very clear that failure to fulfill the responsibilities of filing and even paying tax for the agents, for the agencies like the employers, is 500,000 per a year. That is per refusal to file according to time. Like for example, we have extended to 29th of February. So if you still refuse to file return of activities of last year, you are liable to pay
additional 500,000 naira, $500,000 naira.
And FCT-IRS can sue you to court. You can be convicted.
Wow.
To even up to prison.
That's,
so this is,
that's quite a heavy one, and I think I would rather go pay my tax than to wait for that 500,000 naira.
Even individuals also have their own share of the penalty. Because by March of this year, the due date for individuals will end. So individuals have 90 days from the beginning of the year to file their returns. And if they don't file, the law also said they will be fined, and they can also be taken to court. So you will see issues around there.
That's very important to hear and to of course adhere to. But finally, before I let you go, is there any other thing that the FCT residents, particularly taxpayers, should know from the FCT-IRS?
Yes, for me, there are three things I want them to know. The first one is that it's their responsibility to, first of all, have team.
Tax identification number.
File their returns, and pay their taxes to support and contribute their own quota. It's not everybody that have this money. Those that have should support those that doesn't have. That is the equity part of the. So the second thing is FCT-IRS is coming up with new taxes that have not been tapped to before, like capital gain tax. When you sell property, you are expected to calculate the gain, and you pay 10% of it, which is called capital gain tax. And also property tax. It's also minister has also approved that for FCT-IRS to take on. The last thing is FCT-IRS is looking forward to see other agencies to be checking the tax clearance certificate. According to what the law says. Section 85 of the law says tax clearance certificates should be verified. They should be demanded when carrying out any activity. And failure for those agencies to also demand for those tax clearance, they are also liable to pay 5 million naira per one demand. So you can see that is a serious thing. So I want the agencies to look at this and try to avoid those issues.
All right, Mr. James.
All right. So for me, finally, we just want to assure the residents of FCT that every of our processes is seamless, and you can do almost everything from request for TIN at the comfort of your home. You can make your payment. You do not have to interface with any of our our officers. You can request for your TCC at the comfort of your home. You can do your filing at the comfort of your home. So almost everything can be done on our self-service portal. So I just want to assure them. I've seen people asking, "Oh, how do I do this?" Go to our website. You will be guided. We have a lot of video animations explaining the processes.
Is your website interactive?
Very interactive. Our website is very interactive. It's one of the best, and I'm saying that proudly on the TV. Our website is one of the best. Our website is www.fctirs.gov.ng.
fctirs.gov.ng.
And we have a lot of video interactions that explain to you some of these processes, so you can guide yourself from there, and then you do your things without even having to interface with any of our tax officers.
On this note, I have to say sincere thank you to you, Mr. Salisu Abubakar, Head Tax Operations, FCT-IRS, and Mr. James Olukotun,
thank you,
who is Head of ICT FCT-IRS, for joining us on the program this morning. We hope that when we extend another invitation anytime soon, you will be here to avail yourself to especially FCT taxpayers. Thank you very much. And on this note, we have to say, goodbye to this gentleman, because we have another set of interview coming up, but that will be after the Investment Plus segment, where you will be learning some tips on how to become financially wiser. Do stay with us. We'll be right back.